All right, hey everybody, Dave Cooper. Sorry about that. Jen has been live the whole time.
Hi everyone.
We're not smiling too much right now. As you can see, we are still at the Tiffin Center, and one headache into another headache. So we were actually just trying to go live again because everything cut off and we couldn't get back in. So we apologize if we missed anybody and the feed didn't go off with a hitch, but here we are. We were going to talk about Women in Construction Week. I'm going to talk about Valium for me.
Well, I think that today is a perfect example of having a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, no matter what business you're in. Things don't always go off as you hope. And when you are building a team, whether it's a small team or a big team, everybody's contribution is incredibly valuable. And how do you get everybody on the same page in terms of what the vision is, what the mission is, what are the goals, and obviously a lot of that's rooted in clear communication. And modular construction is no different than any type of business out there where planning and logistics and clear communication is super critical to the success of the job. Would you agree?
I would agree. I think it's like anything else. So we're here, you can see at the Tiffin Service Center. Look at all these buses here. And one of the things we've been loving our experience so far at Tiffin, but what happens is it's a first come, first serve, and they call you and say, oh, be in our bay at X time. If you lose that time, that could extend your time here by a day or even a week. And we've been here for about 2 weeks. So with that said, you can see all of these bays are completely full. And all of these motorhomes behind us are waiting. So some things you just can't plan for, and this was one of them.
So this is a terrific example of even in the business and customer service and providing service excellence. It's one thing to design the home, figure out all the permitting, all the logistics, all the structural engineering that needs to happen. Then you install the home, and with any amount of there we go. You get through the entire process with the client, right? And essentially with any home, even if it's perfectly done, there are callbacks, there are service needs, and if you are a builder who includes, a planned service call either a month after the delivery or a month after completion or 6 months or a year, there is follow-up involved, and it's all about communicating when you're going to be there and what's going to happen when you get there, kind of level setting the expectations. And today is a perfect example of level setting expectations, telling people what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how long it might take, and whether or not there could be any delays, like what might prevent somebody from completing a job. Because actually, we're back here having work redone that's already been done.
We are having work redone, or we would have been out of here a few days ago, and it extended our time here into this week. So hopefully, this should be it. Hopefully they finalize it here. Hopefully they get everything done, and we're finally off on the road show. I love Red Bay, Alabama, but
we're ready to go.
We are definitely ready to go. So with that said, one of the big things, this is Women in Construction Week, and we were going to talk about Women in Construction Week, and Jen had a good point. Jen goes, why do we even call it Women in Construction Week? Why do we even have that? Why should we even make a big deal of that, right? And I think, twofold. It's been male predominantly in our industry, but she's right. It should just be we're all in construction. We're all equal. We're all doing the same. We're all pulling in the same direction, and we have all these special weeks. And it was just something that I thought, well, that's a good topic for today, especially in our world of modular construction, because we have more people coming into the modular space, which is great. But we don't, celebrating it necessarily kind of rubs you wrong, huh?
Well, it's not that it rubs me wrong. It's, kind of what we're trying to do here is showcase the people, the process, the products, that are leading by example and who are just doing it, right? Not just talking about why it's not that way or how come it's not that way or here are what the statistics tell us. Yes, it's important to know all that, and it's important to track the progress for sure, right? Know where you're going, know where you are, and know where you're going, and
measure the distance between the two. But our experience has been, if you show people companies that have amazing culture, if you show people companies that are, have amazing technology, if you show people places that are inspiring, companies that are inspiring, or teams who are inspiring, then the people will come.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's it. We talked about it yesterday in the show. Culture is everything, right? If you're today, most people want the culture of a business, and they would give up some income to have a better culture, to have a better way of life, to have a job that fits their lifestyle, fits their work ethics. And I think that's a big deal, especially in construction, because we're never going to get away from the physical labor. So how do you attract physical labor to our world? You're not going to do it by saying, hey, you get to swing the heaviest hammer out there. You're just not going to get it. But if you say, hey, we have the best culture, this is our shifts, this is our work hours, these are our bennies, right? Whatever benefits, that's a good way to have culture. And this is what we believe in: energy efficiency, green, whatever.
Whatever it is. And there are terrific examples out there of people who very clearly communicate their values, their core values, and their mission, like Bob Bender with the Commodore Corporation. Core values and vision is extremely important to them, and they have a portfolio of companies and a huge workforce that is all on the same page. They all believe in that. Obviously there's a trend out there right now: remote work from home. Companies are going completely to that platform.
Yep.
And in our industry, you may not be able to do that, but when and where can you do that? What's your policy around bad weather days, or what's your policy around, when employees just have to step out and either go pick up their dry cleaning or pick up their kids or see a school play? What's your policy around those things? And how do you incorporate some freedom, some benefits, some perks, if you will, to make those things a little bit easier, right? Because life happens. And how do you enable people to really take advantage of those moments and still perform in excellence?
Yeah, life happens for sure. It happened to us just a little bit ago. So, but you're absolutely right. Maybe we need better culture in our household and what have you. So, but yeah, life does happen, and that's kind of what's happened to us today. So, one of the I think things with culture, with women in construction. I see Nicole chiming in there. What does Nicole say? Every week should be Women in Construction Week.
This is what I mean, and this is the challenge that I would love, to include you in. And I know that you're doing a great job with your documentaries and really spreading the good word of people in action and people doing this and leading by example. But absolutely, I think every day it should just be a reminder of how do we just be better? Because then the people will come. Right? How do we inspire our daughters, our sisters, our nieces, our cousins, whomever, just anybody at this point? I mean, we have a skilled labor issue. It's across the board. Nicole meant
women rock in construction. It's funny you said that. We just talked about this earlier today on another call with another podcaster with my hair, which was great. And, I think you're absolutely right. I think that, I always say we're going to go further, faster with women in construction. We have our Her Stories in Housing collaboration that we do. And I have to tell you, everybody that we interviewed for Her Stories in Housing never felt like they needed a Women in Construction Week. They always said, I don't know, I just go to work, I do my job. There is very few, maybe one, but most of the, women that we interviewed were they were real happy on what they were doing and how they were doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's just the importance also of mentorship. Yeah. And that comes from anywhere, anyone, that's not gender-based. That could be anybody. When you have a good mentor, when you have somebody in the workplace that you really trust, and somebody that talks about this a lot right now is Angela Ahrendts. She used to be the head of retail at Apple, and now she's doing a whole series on trusting your leadership team and having that mutual trust between, the people at the top and the people doing the day-to-day work, and how that improves performance across the board. So when you have a strong leadership team, when you have that mentoring, that happens. And we've been so fortunate to see that across the board in offsite construction in many forms. That, you know, it really leads to a more productive, more desirable workplace.
Yeah, it really does lead to a more productive, more desirable workplace. But hey, listen, we need more women in this industry for sure. We definitely do. And I think having something like Women in Construction Week just brings more attention to it, has people go, maybe construction is a place I want to be. Because a lot of people, just like the young people, they don't sit there and think there's all these wonderful jobs in our industry. There's everything from project management, swinging hammers, office work, running companies, right? How many female CEOs are there right now? There's quite a few, right?
Yeah.
So if you really think about it, look at Alana Garman. Yeah, right. All doing amazing things, you know, and running these huge companies that are just so successful. So I think the more we have of that in our industry and the more we shed a light on it, I do think the further, faster we'll go. So we just thought it was a funny topic because I said it's women, you know, we were talking about women in Jen's like, well, why don't we have it? I mean, it makes a good conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the thing about bridging the gap with offsite construction is that the job site has changed dramatically in offsite construction, you know, and construction in general. You know, think about the level of robotics and automation and the cranes that do the heavy lifting. You know, it's a lot more democratic now, in terms of how homes can be built and jobs can be completed with you know, the advancement of automation and robotics and everything else. It makes it much easier for women or anybody to get involved.
It's us, and we take anybody these days, right? We want people to be involved. I said that yesterday too, and I asked Craig Morgan, the country singer. I had a chance to interview him. I asked him. I said, "Well, how do people get involved with, you know, Homes for Our Troops?" And he goes, "Get involved. That's all you got to do." I mean, we have everything in this industry, and I think yes, it's a wonderful thing. So, listen, if you guys are joining us now, and Nicole, I'll get back to some of your comments. You're definitely the commenter of the day. Thank you so much for joining us from YouTube. But we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We are late on our show today because we are doing what they call the tip and shuffle, or at least that's what I coined it this morning. They call, you have to drop everything and shuffle or you lose your space. Then we went live, then we lost the live, and I guess it was still live, so it might have been blank a little bit in the beginning. We'll edit all that out. Or they may have caught me mother error because I was not happy when finally. And then I went down to my phone to go live, and I'm like, "Oh, we're live." So but this is the real deal. This is what we go through every day, trying to make this show happen at 1 o'clock, and some days are harder than others.
Yeah, but either way, thank you to everybody out there who has been supporting us and who has been encouraging us. And Dave, I'm encouraged by a couple of things that I learned this morning as it relates to, you know, the next generation of construction leaders. You know, for a long time we were in the single digits in terms of women participating in the industry and women in the business. And there's some good news out there in terms of the percentages of men and women in higher ed, in construction management programs, in student organizations. You know, there's definitely some advancement of the percentage of women who are involved. So that's really exciting, and everybody that we speak to is working really hard to make that even better. You know, how do we start early? That's what Mike Rowe talks about, you know, in terms of the schools, the trade schools. How do we start earlier? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach our kids at, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old, that there is a better way. Well, and here's the great part. I know our kids are 13. But some of the kids in our personal network who are in middle school and high school, they have brought back shop class in the schools. So they're learning woodworking, they're learning CAD. So a lot of those programs were gone for a long time. And in the last couple of years, they started bringing them back, and we're seeing it happen amongst our friends and family. That part is really great.
Yeah, no, it really is. Sorry, I had some people. You make friends when you're somewhere for a couple of weeks. So I was, people are waving to us. You can see we're trying not to get run over. I'll just show everybody. Got the big motorhomes pulling into all the service bays here. All right, Jennifer. Let's say hi to some people out here. Let's get through some of Nicole's comments because she made a couple of things in Florida. I want to read what it says. Let me get the screen straight again. Shouldn't have touched it. All right. Nicole says small and big companies can make a big impact, but smaller doesn't mean less of an impact. CEO in Florida, female founded. Oh, Redev. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. Redev. And what is Redev? We'll have to look at that. Guess where we're heading maybe tonight or tomorrow, Nicole? We are heading to Florida from Alabama, and that's where we're going to be starting our road show from. It's this is it. Hopefully today, tomorrow latest, we're out of here. We'll get that. We'll get our studio back. We'll get everything back set up, and we are hitting the road. We do have a stop in Gainesville. Get our whole internet thing hooked up so we don't have many internet issues. We're going to try and not have as many of those because we are relying on good service. So, Andrew Sealy. Can't get anywhere near the top of where we should be as labor force and marketplace without women, particularly fully in markets and industries. Why not? We men can do much more. Make space, make doors, and make elevators to help.
For sure,
Yeah.
Andrew, and thank you.
Great.
Everybody has cars. Thanks for watching today. We always love it when you tune in. But definitely, that's just it. We all play a role, right? And we play a role as part of the workforce. We play a role as mentors and mentees. We play a role as parents or to the next generation. However, you might be connected to that next generation. But how do we inspire others to know that there are these paths to follow? Because this happened in other industries before ours. I mean, think about doctors and surgeons and scientists. I mean, women have made their way into these other industries. We can do it too.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Andrew Sealy, yeah. Oh, did you miss Craig? No, yeah, that wasn't yesterday. So, funny story, Andrew. So I support Operation Finally Home, where we build houses for wounded veterans and their families. And we were at an event at IBS in Vegas. It was the year before last, right? 2 years now almost. And it was kind of funny. I was interviewing people there like I normally do and trying to grow awareness for the veterans in Operation Finally Home. And literally Craig Morgan's a big sponsor. He came off stage. All the big bodyguards come up and they surrounded. He goes, "You want to do an interview?" And that's how it happened. And I got to interview the Craig Morgan. So super cool. That's on the YouTube channel, I believe, somewhere, right? We have it up there, but that's going back. I'll share the link with you. So, or you can find it. Just search Craig Morgan, Dave Cooper live interview. But yeah, that was a very special moment in my life. That's how often does that happen to somebody, right? It was cool. It was really cool. But all right, Nicole says that so they're a construction company and they're exploring modular. So Nicole, let's talk. That'd be interesting to learn a little bit more. Send us a private message if you would. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn, Nicole, or you can do it even through. Can you do private message for YouTube? LinkedIn's kind of our main communication side. But yeah, let us know if you have access to LinkedIn. If not, just send me a message here on how to get a hold of you, and we'll talk. All right, Andrew, you go watch that, man. I love it. All right, so Jen, here we go. We've already done 30 minutes. We're almost done. It's almost 1. No, it's almost 2. It's 1 o'clock here. 1 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock. That's what I really need today. I apologize right now for anybody that may have heard me going off the rails when everything went haywire here and we had to move. But sorry we're a little late getting to the stream. But as tradition has it, Jennifer, we have a couple more weeks of 6 days a week. We've been doing this 6 days a week for almost a year. We have not missed a single day of those 6 days a week. So some like I said, some days get a little bit more trying than others. And today was one of those days. But we're here.
Yeah, and really what we're trying to do is just advance the conversation in general around volumetric modular construction on this show, Building Modular, and then in our other shows, just advancing construction technology across the board, and how do we share the stories of success and failures, because we have something to learn from everything, from everyone and every experience. But two things that we want to leave everybody with today is, again, going back to yesterday's show with Jim Bannon and Matt Belcher, both award-winning BSC members, Building Systems Council members. We had them on the show, and two very important things that they shared yesterday. And the first was culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you can have the best strategy in the world. And Jim Bannon, he's head of two major organizations that are doing unbelievable work as it relates to high performance construction and energy efficiency. And they do a lot of work with insulated panels. And if you haven't seen the work that they did with their float homes from Insulspan, definitely check it out. It's unbelievable. It was a solution they came up with for affordable housing and workforce housing on the islands in resort locations, which is super cool. And the second thing we learned was from Matt Belcher is that this is not a competition. This is a co-opetition.
She likes that. I've heard this 4 or 5 times now.
I know.
It is a co-opetition.
Yeah, and I think something to keep in mind, because oftentimes we find ourselves in these silos. And Andrew, this goes back to what you were talking about. How do we open up doors? How do we create those elevators for advancement? And it's not by sharing the secret. It's not by hiding your secret sauce. It's about sharing your challenges and your opportunities, and how do we work through these issues together, because these are global issues.
Yeah, they are global issues for sure. Yesterday was actually a really cool show.
Yeah.
It really is a cool show. So, all right, Jennifer, we got to get back to getting our show on the road here and doing all the things that we need to do. If anybody's interested in seeing Red Bay and what Tiffin looks like, let me know. I'll give you a quick walk around, because that's basically what I'm going to do right when we hang this up here, because we got to go down there and find Dahlia. One of our daughters is missing somewhere. Good parenting skills 101.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, hopefully she didn't do what I did yesterday, which was get into the wrong coach.
She did. Almost got rid of her. Almost. So, well, all right, everybody, listen, thank you for putting up with our shenanigans today. I don't think there's any more comments to get through there. I'm Dave Cooper. This is an episode of Building Modular. We didn't talk too much about modular, but we will be back on this hot and heavy. Next week, we are done with everything here. There's a comment popped up. Crocus, Cooper, good truths.
Yeah, right.
Go watch.
Yeah, gotta keep it real, Mr. Sealy. So thanks again for your support, and let's keep building modular. Let's keep working together, and as always, reach out with any questions, any comments, because we're here to help you.
Yeah. All right, everybody, listen, we got to run. Thank you for tuning in today and putting up with our shenanigans. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Who's on tomorrow?
Oh my gosh, tomorrow is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing show to Parrot Zenit, the architect we had on a few weeks. It's Professor Dumpster.
Professor Dumpster on the show.
Yeah, listen, you may not even know this crazy story. So this is why.
He's not really a professor at dumpsters, but he lived in a dumpster to figure out living in small spaces.
Yeah, as a spontaneous, well, probably not too spontaneous, but he went on a 3-week trip, booked a one-way ticket into one city. I think it was in Turkey. No luggage, no backpack, nothing, just the clothes on his back, and traveled for 3 weeks and flew home from a different city.
Yep.
So can't wait to hear that story and how that relates to housing. But certainly tomorrow's going to be a great show.
Well, tomorrow's definitely going to be a good show. It's a character, and they're doing great things in the housing market. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Dave Cooper.
I'm Jennifer Cooper. We'll see you next week.
Bye now.